And welcome to Inside Albania with me, Alice Taylor. This week, I've decided to focus on the topic of defence, in particular, Albanian women in defence. In a changing geopolitical landscape, defence is one of those topics which has really come to the fore, whether it is in politics, in society, in the EU, and of course, in industry. So this week, I'm going to be speaking to two Albanian women who are leaders in the field and are working to encourage and further develop Albania's very own defence sector. Over the weekend, I was in Belgium to promote my book with the Albanian diaspora and curious foreigners. But I also had the great opportunity to meet Dorina Tsani, who works with contracts and procurement for NATO, the Western Military Alliance. Not only is she extremely successful in what she does, but she has not forgotten her roots, and she has spearheaded a really interesting initiative to encourage defence industry in Albania and to actually encourage them to work with NATO. We sat down for an interview at the Albanian Cultural Centre right in the middle of Brussels called Shipville. Here's what went down. So first, you live in Brussels, but you're from Albania originally. How did this happen? Why did you leave Albania? When? How did you get into the job that you have now?
Okay, thank you for the interview. It's nice being here. I left Albania actually 20 years ago. It was a decision that was taken by our entire family, but my parents always wanted us to have a schooling abroad and to have degrees from the best universities in Belgium, and Belgium is known for the KU Leuven, where I've accomplished my studies in applied economic sciences. And since then, we've decided to live here. I've built up my own family. I'm happily married to my husband, Erblin, who's actually also my partner in crime for the industry day we organized. And we also have two sons together, Marby and DR. Since 10 years, I've been working for NATO, more specifically for the NCIA agency, the NATO Communications and Information Agency, which is actually the principal provider of technical solutions for NATO. So we make it possible, the interconnection between deployable forces, the NATO commands, and NATO nations. It's a very interesting field, actually where I'm working. I work in public procurement. I'm responsible for all procurement actions, cradle to grave, from the moment where a capability package comes in until issuing the notifications of intent, negotiating with companies, signing the contracts, and administering the final contract.
So it's a very sensitive area. Not only are you working with something sensitive like communications in, on the ground crucial settings, but with companies to make sure they are legitimate, that they meet your standards, that they are going to make good on their contract, that the equipment is up to scratch, etc. It's a big responsibility, I think.
Indeed it is. It is actually a bad news that we currently have a war in our backyard, but on the other hand, NATO is increasing its defense capabilities by 230% by 2030, meaning that it is crucial that we engage with companies and industries from NATO nations to partner with us in order to fulfill alliance missions. Therefore, we need to foster communication with companies, to have a touch and feel of, on both sides actually, what they expect from NATO and what we expect from them. So that dialogue needs to happen in order to fulfill the alliance mission.
You recently organised an industry day in Albania, and this was born out of a realisation that Albania, even though it's been a member of NATO for 15 years, it's not sort of represented within the companies, amongst the companies that NATO works with. Can you elaborate a bit more about this, how you noticed it, why you noticed this, and what led up to this industry day that took place earlier in June?
Yeah. As I previously said, I work for the acquisition department since 10 years now, and I've been noticing a remarkable lack of Albanian companies in NATO tendering. So for me, it was actually a must to have this industry day. So although we are a member nation since 15 years now, we have never had the possibility to have an Albanian industry day. And being in that specific department where I could notice the lack of Albanian companies, I really felt the urge to engage with Albanian authorities in order to organize this day. And I'm very proud to say that it was a very fruitful event. We had many companies who participated and who are really eager to know how to do business with NATO. So on that specific day, we talked briefly on the work that our agency does, on the challenges that NATO is currently facing. But the major part of the presentation, which was given by me, was on how to do business with NATO. So we went in very practical terms on the different steps that companies need to follow to engage with us. Now afterwards, I realized that my presentation was kind of overwhelming, a handful of information, and therefore we had a slide which was very interesting with 5 crucial steps for the companies on how to do business with us. And I think if they will familiarize themselves a little bit with our business opportunities, what NATO is looking at currently, it's a good starting point for them to engage with us.
And what kinds of companies took part, and what kind of industries are there in Albania that can work with NATO? I mean, we're not, for people who are watching, they might think, oh, NATO, maybe it's like weapons and things like that. We're not talking about guns and battleships and things, are we? What sort of industries does Albania have already, and what companies which can seek opportunities with NATO and other similar sort of organizations?
Thanks for mentioning that, because the main reason I wanted to organize this industry day is to provide that information out there for Albanian companies that there is possibility to do business with NATO. I'm sure majority of Albanians and Albanian companies, they see NATO as the greatest military alliance who will defend us in case of an attack. But that's it. You stay kind of away from it. But it's much more than that. There are business opportunities out there. In the conference, we had many digital companies, startups, software companies, which are of a great interest for NATO. Also, construction companies were there. So it was a mixture of different companies, around 70 of them, which I was surprised. Yes. I was surprised to hear from the organizers that we had that many. And actually, they received requests for 200 participants, but because of the lack of room for everybody.
Are there any particular services that NATO needs that maybe an Albanian company could fill? You know, what does NATO need? You know, what services are they looking for? Are they constantly what gaps are there?
So, as I previously mentioned, I'm working for the NATO Communication and Information Agency. So all communication capabilities are needed. Satellite communications, IT communications, also consulting is needed as well, to have consultants help us with the increase of work that NATO is having currently. So I really do see room for participation of the Albanian companies in.
And do you think the geographic location of Albania has an important part to play in this as well? You know, we're in a very crucial place in Europe as well.
It does.
Is this
It does. Yes, indeed. If I take an example of the CIS equipment that we might need, the transportation costs would be lower for an Albanian company than a company, I don't know, Canada or US. So it makes it in the end cheaper for them to bring the product until the different NATO bases. So that can be a benefit on their side.
And after this industry day, which was a big success, what feedback did you get from these companies, these business owners? You know, what was their sort of response to the information that you gave?
Actually, I was very pleased to get many compliments on the day itself, the way we distributed information. I heard that it was clear and approachable, so I'm happy for that. And I also noticed during our conversations that what I had in mind actually before, yes, indeed, they didn't have that practical information on how to do business with us. So I've already been approached by Albanian companies that want to start engaging with us, and again, I'm trying to help them as much as they can, because I can understand that at the beginning it's a cumbersome process. NATO is large, it's bureaucratic, so we also have our rules that
strict standards and processes, maybe different to what these companies are used to.
Indeed, but what I also maybe worth mentioning here is the fact that what I also highlighted during my presentation. Of course, we have purchases of big capabilities which have great implementation phases, and maybe at this stage, I'm not expecting Albanian companies to engage in these type of procurements. But of course, we do have procurements of lower thresholds for which they can perfectly fit in 3 tenders, 5 tenders, which are also less complex in all the declarations that they need prior to engaging with us. Because if you go for big competitions, international call for bids,
you're competing with big names.
Big names, but also you need to have prerequisite certificates like the Declaration of Eligibility, which is a very important document.
Kosovo is not a member of NATO, but are they allowed to, are companies from Kosovo allowed to supply NATO, or does it only work with NATO members?
Unfortunately not. So participation, it's among, and competition is actually among NATO member countries.
It's a male-dominated industry. This defense sort of sector. NATO, I have friends, a female friend who works as a reporter. She follows NATO, and she has talked about how it can be quite a male-charged environment as well. You know, there's another Albanian woman who's working in producing military vehicles and things. Has this ever been an issue for you? Have you ever felt like you've had to fight your corner a bit more because you're female? Has it ever?
It is true that it's a male-dominated field, but we're doing more and more progress to include women in that field. I've noticed it a lot. And no, to be honest, I've never felt that need to push back, or no, I always felt respected among colleagues. So,
do you miss home? It's been 20 years you've been in Brussels. In Belgium.
I do. Actually, I have a double nationality. I'm Belgian as well, and I've been living longer in Belgium than Albania. But when they ask me about my nationality, I always say I'm Albanian because I feel Albanian in my roots. So yes, I do definitely.
Do you think you'd ever go back, or is your life here now?
That's a tough question, Alice. When we first came, the aim was actually to finish our studies. That's what our parents always wanted, to finish our studies and go back home to use our skills and our knowledge that we've gained here in Europe. But then we built our own families. And this Albanian Day was, in a way, a promise that I made to kind of my country to help in a way to bring it back, that knowledge and expertise that I have. This Industry Day is kind of coming late because we are a member state since 15 years now. But on the other hand, it's coming on the right time. I might seem controversial, but it's coming late because we've been in the alliance for 15 years. It could have happened sooner, but it's in the right timing because NATO is increasing its defense spending. So we need companies from the NATO nations to engage with us and to provide solutions for the alliance. And also, I think the Albanian industry is more ready now than it was 15 years ago.
This is the thing. I was going to say maybe 15 years ago there wasn't the ideas there, that sort of thing. So now I think people are becoming more aware about tech and startups.
Of course, yeah.
They're more savvy and switched on. So maybe it will encourage other people as well. But yeah, with defence spending, and the EU as well are increasing their defence spending as well. So there's a lot of potential for countries.
It's unfortunate that we have to increase defense spending due to geopolitical factors. But on the other hand, let's see the positive side for the company. So
thank you very much, and well done for, you left, you made your life here, but you never forgot, and you're still trying to help. And this is really nice.
Thank you for the interview.
Next up, I'm joined in the studio by Arieta Puța. She is the CEO and founder of Timac, which is a company specializing in several areas, including the development of specialist vehicles such as ambulances, machinery and vehicles for construction, road and highway development, and other infrastructural needs. This is not the first time I've interviewed her, but it is the first time for Euronews. And she has just returned from Paris, where she had a very special opportunity to showcase a very special Albanian product. Arieta, welcome to Inside Albania. It's a pleasure to have you in person. As I explained before, I've interviewed you before, 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago, at time.
Yes, over the internet, social distancing and all of that. So it's nice to have you in the studio in person. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting.
So, I know the answer to this question, but for our viewers that don't, can you explain a bit about how you got into this sector, how you started this company?
Actually, I lived for long years in another country, and I just wanted to come back to Albania. So 7 years ago, I opened my own company, and I was thinking to sell some products like snowplow and other kind of vehicles, but it didn't go very good in Albania because we don't have very much snow. And later, I attended to every tender and to see what kind of work I can get, and I won a tender of ambulances. From there, I learned how to build ambulances, and later I continue with ambulances, police vehicles, and fire trucks.
But you've recently branched out into another area, and you are the creator of Albania's first, if I'm not wrong, military type vehicle called Shota.
Yes.
Can you tell us about this product, how long it's taken you to develop, and its purpose as well?
To be honest, because we are building very much ambulances, we started to have also requests of armored ambulances, and we produce armored ambulances for war zones. And later we started to have requests for APCs, which is armored personnel carrier, and MREP. And we said it was also one of my dreams to build a military vehicle. So I said, maybe this is the time. And we had also Eurosatory Expo, like after 3 months.
Yes.
And I said, maybe this is the moment to build it. So we worked like 3 months with Albanian designer, Gregor Andoni, and our Turkish engineer. And in these 3 months, we built the vehicle and sent it to Paris.
Did you draw on any influence from any other sort of vehicles of its type, or is it?
So this kind of vehicles already have some standards that we need to obey. So we, in an engineering way, we obey to them. But as a design, it was totally unique. That's why also in Expo, everybody was visiting it, and they like it very much.
Yes. Now, I want to ask as well, the name. For those who are not aware, I am aware, but can you explain why the name Shota, what significance this has?
So our company is 70-75% women. And one of our company's philosophy is to empower women in male-dominated businesses. So we are very focused to women. So a woman group created all this project, and we wanted to name it an Albanian warrior name. So it was Shota Galica, Shot Galica, which is a very important figure and hero for us. So we wanted her name to be in the whole world. Even now, like when we are talking with our clients, they say, like, can you send us the specifications of Shota, for example, from Germany, from Canada, and we really love it.
Do you think this might put off some potential customers in the region? You know, you have potential to work with Serbia, for example, and other countries. If you say to them, yeah, we've got this vehicle, Shota, who, by the way, was hunting you down 100 and something years ago. Is that potentially complex, do you think?
I don't think that it's complex. I think every country has their own heroes, and we are every time proud of them. Many countries fight with each other, so I think it's fine, and we would prefer not to have client and hide our hero's name.
You've just come back from this large exposition in Paris, Eurosatori 2024.
Yeah.
What was it like? How did you get involved? Were you invited there? What was the reaction to the product? Tell me everything about it.
To be honest, we were very nervous in the beginning because there is huge companies like with 100 years history.
Yes.
And we were going there with a few years company and the first time a prototype. So like last week, I even couldn't sleep. It was very stressful. And but when we went there, the reactions was very positive. And if there was something, they were mostly like saying, you can fix there this part, you can do this better. So it was very nice. We had also very much communication with clients who were very much interested to build cars in Albania. This was also very good because we felt like, okay, it's not just a product, but we are being a pioneer there. To Eurosatori, nobody invited us. We went by ourselves. So, yeah.
We deserve to be there.
Yeah. We said we have to be there. We saw that there was like 62 countries and there was no company from Albania. So we said we have to be the pioneer of these things.
You mentioned it's a prototype. So this is the first one that's been created. What happens next with it?
Next, we will have the orders or requests for cooperations. From now, we started to have requests for quotation delivery times. So we will see if somebody will be willing to buy, then we will create not the prototype, but the real ones.
Now, you build ambulances as well, and you build armoured ambulances.
Yes.
You said something earlier that was interesting. You said you sent them to war zones.
Yes.
Where are your ambulances currently?
As a war zones, they are in Ukraine, in Israel, in Libya for now.
Wow. Okay. And I do know that I didn't know about Ukraine and Libya. That's interesting. But I did know about Israel, and I know that there was a bit of controversy from some sides about this. Do you want to? I mean, what was that controversy, and how did you deal with that as a business owner?
So there was like sometimes people think that we are not a profitable company, but organization for donating vehicles. And they were like saying, why you are sending to Israel, but not sending there? It's not like,
it's
we
not
have
like you're giving them as a
I'm
present.
not giving by myself. Our company has to run, our company has to profit. And for ambulances, like I send to everywhere. Like for me, it's very important. It is an ambulance. It protects a civilian life, a woman, a child, a man. So I was just explaining to it because somebody can like Israel, somebody cannot like, somebody can like Palestine, somebody doesn't like. So it is different thing. If it is an ambulance, you have to understand that it is for protecting lives.
Humanitarian.
Yeah, it's humanitarian. And I totally don't accept if somebody says don't send it there or don't send it there. I send the ambulances everywhere.
And what about Shota, for example, a more military-focused vehicle, or potential other vehicles you might develop in the future with a more military or defense perspective? How would you, as a business owner, draw the line between, okay, this is business and this is maybe somebody I don't want to work with?
When it is military, of course, we will have also our politics on this. So we cannot, it won't be like ambulances.
In Albania, business is male-dominated. Most of the CEOs in this country are men. Women work more, but men have the higher positions. It's a patriarchal country. We know that. We can say that. What are the main challenges you faced in this context locally?
The thing is, it's just in people's mind, like they think like women cannot do it, men can do it. This is the only thing. And that's why we are trying to push our women in the company to do everything. Like even though if somebody is working office, after office time, if they have time, they enter also the production part. And it started to be normal for them. And for example, their daughters come to company, they see it. So we just need to be example, and we need examples like our company. That's why it's one of our philosophy to empower women in male-dominated businesses, so they can see that it's totally normal thing. 2 days ago, when I was in the office, somebody was passing with his daughter, and he just stopped and said to his daughter, "Look, these girls are producing cars here." Yeah, so I like it. So
Yes.
The girls will raise with this kind of mentality in the future. To be honest, I see these things even in developed country. I was in Switzerland, for example, in a professional school, and the director was talking about the equality, that they have a lot of women. And later they show their board, and the board was like 10 men and 1 woman. I said, even in Switzerland, it's not that equal.
Is it challenging to find women who are able and who want to work in this sector?
Yeah, it is very challenging. We worked also with girls who are welder or electrician, and just sometimes they can not push their limits in their mind, so it could be a bit a problem. But that's why we will try hard to show them that it's not something abnormal.
How do you find them? I mean, even in like professional schools and things, there's not so many women doing.
There is a little, and it's
engineering.
enough.
It's enough. So
Yeah, for now, like we had we talked with the professional schools, and we said, do you have a welder who is a girl? And they said, we have just one, and we just took her. It is the same with the professional schools for electricity. Like in 50 people, they had 2 girls. So we invited them to our company. And in our company, we sent all our girls to have a driving license because it's somehow also a freedom.
Yes.
And in the beginning, she was like, I cannot drive a car. And now she is driving a truck. Yeah, she's like 22. So we just want to give this example.
I wanted to ask a more general question as well. When Ukrainian President Zelensky visited, and Prime Minister Rama has mentioned this as well, Zelensky said to Albania, and the Western Balkans, you need to start producing. We want you to start producing weapons, military equipment. We had the NATO Industry Day here recently to encourage Albanian businesses to move more into this sector. Do you think there is more space for growth in the military and defence sector in Albania? And if so, why is it not happening as much as it should be?
I think yes. When I was in Expo, even though we went with the car, many companies came for cooperation in Albania, and they wanted like military drones, they wanted ammunition lines. Like there was many requests, and we will have now meetings with them. Like we went with the car, but we are going also to different sectors maybe. And I was very impressed. Like there was so much interest. Just somebody didn't start it. That's why it's good sometimes to be a pioneer. And I heard also in the region, for example, for ammunition lines, like in Montenegro, in Kosovo, there was going with some projects. So Albania could be also one of them.
Yes.
And it's very important because it's very good also for our country's GDP.
Yes. But also, you have many Albanians leaving the country saying there's no opportunities here. But you came back and you found an opportunity. And now there's lots more opportunities and you're potentially looking to move into different things.
I think every time in a developing country, there is more opportunity than a developed country.
Yes.
I think so. And it's just in Albania, maybe living in Albania made people like that. They are a very negative mindset. Like you cannot do anything here, it won't work and other things. And that's why maybe they need to see some examples like ours and to see that there is many things, opportunities that can be done. We will do also personally what can we do for our country and for our people to do some good projects, and they can work there and they can be more positive about our country. Even when we go to Expo to Paris, our girls were very happy that we were going to Paris and so on. And after 1 week, they were like, please, I want to go back to Albania.
I'm the same when I travel as well.
And I said, you wanted to go abroad? They said, no, we are very happy now. Yeah, we are not changing.
It's expensive, the weather's bad,
Yeah,
you know, it's, and then you appreciate what we have here
The
a bit more.
food, everything like that. We are used different, so.
So you've made this product. What's next? I mean, do you have any projects on the horizon that you can talk about specifically, or anything concrete, any more expos, anything you can share?
We want to do another project for unmanned ground vehicle. And meantime, we are talking also with these companies that we meet in Expo, and we will see with them what kind of projects we can have. But one of them is, as I said, the military drones, and the other one is ammunition line. So it's like more we will see in maybe in these 6 months what it will be. Meanwhile, we are also continuing with our products, doing 65 military vehicles, ambulances.
Good. And you said you might be developing another military armored vehicle. Will it have a name along the same theme as Shota?
It will be, with high possibility, it will be a woman name again. And it will be every time a woman name.
Good. I like this. Arietta, thank you very much.
Thank you
success.
very much. Thank you.
That's all for this week. You can follow Inside Albania on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, on Euronews Albania television channel, and across all major podcasting platforms. Mirë pafshim!